Have you ever felt like your focus is just shattered? Like your motivation is completely vanished? Well, you're not alone, and I'm here to tell you it is not your fault. Today we're going to get into the actual neuroscience of why this is happening, and more importantly, how you can take back control of your own brain.
Look, let's just cut right to it. The hard truth is this: your brain is being hijacked. Every single time you open up social media, you are physically, and I mean physically, destroying your ability to do the hard, meaningful work you actually want to do. And this hijacking, it leads to that awful question we all ask ourselves, right? When we just can't bring ourselves to focus, we think, am I just lazy? Is there something wrong with me? But the science is crystal clear on this. You are not lazy. You are chemically compromised.
To really get what's going on, we have to understand that this isn't some simple bad habit you can just wish away. No, this is a full-on neurological hijack. It is a biological reality of the world we live in today. And the culprits? Oh, they're everywhere. And they are literally engineered to be irresistible. We're talking about that endless, hypnotic scroll on social media, the hyper-palatable junk food that hits just right, those immersive video games, basically anything that gives you a huge reward for almost zero effort.
And this right here, this is the core of the entire problem. Our brains, they evolved for a world of scarcity, where dopamine was the reward that kept us surviving. But today, these sources of cheap pleasure are flooding our system with artificial dopamine levels that our biology was never ever meant to handle. It's like pouring rocket fuel into a car engine. Yeah, it feels great for about 5 seconds, and then the entire engine just burns out. Your receptors are completely fried.
So how exactly does this burnout happen? Well, it all comes down to this really fundamental mechanism in your brain called the pleasure-pain balance. This is literally how your brain keeps score. This insight from Dr. Anna Lembke at Stanford is absolutely critical. She explains that pleasure and pain are basically two sides of the same coin. They're processed in the exact same part of the brain, and they operate just like a seesaw.
And the number one rule of this seesaw, it always wants to stay level. This is a biological principle called homeostasis. Your brain is working 24/7, completely unconsciously, to keep this balance in equilibrium. It doesn't want to be tipped too far to one side for too long. Now, to keep itself level, your brain uses something called the opponent process theory. So you experience a little pleasure, let's say you eat a cookie, the seesaw tips to the pleasure side. Well, to bring it back to level, your brain immediately tips it an equal amount toward pain. That's that come down, that craving you feel for another one. But get this, the reverse is also true. You push yourself through a hard workout, tipping the scale toward pain. And how does your brain compensate? It rewards you with a long, sustained tip toward pleasure. That's the runner's high. This idea is the key to absolutely everything.
So, what do you think happens when we just relentlessly, day in and day out, slam the pleasure side of the scale? Well, it doesn't just swing back and forth anymore. It gets stuck. And this is what's known as the dopamine deficit state. This is where your brain starts to adapt. It gets wise to this constant, cheap pleasure. So with repeated exposure, that initial high you feel gets weaker and a lot shorter. And to compensate, that painful after effect, that come down, it gets stronger and it lasts way longer.
And this leads to these universal symptoms that, well, they might look pretty familiar to a lot of you. We're talking anxiety, irritability, insomnia, even depression, and that constant nagging craving for something. But the biggest one? An inability to enjoy simple, modest rewards. A beautiful sunset, a good conversation. They just don't do it for you anymore. And this all leads to the really insidious endpoint of this entire cycle. Your pleasure-pain balance is now stuck, tilted toward pain. So you're no longer reaching for your phone or that junk food to feel good. You're desperately reaching for it just to escape feeling bad, just to feel normal for a few seconds.
All right, that sounds pretty bleak, I know. So how in the world do we fix this? How do we rebalance the scales? Well, the answer is completely counterintuitive. It's about actively embracing the other side of the balance, the power of pain. Now, this might sound a little crazy, but this is the biological hack. To heal a system that's been broken by easy, unearned pleasure, you have to voluntarily pursue things that are difficult. You have to earn your dopamine back. The scientific name for this is hormesis, and it's a pretty cool idea. It's the concept that a moderate dose of a stressor doesn't actually break you down, it builds you up. It triggers all these amazing adaptations that make you stronger, more resilient, and, believe it or not, happier.
So what does this actually look like?
Well, we're talking about things like vigorous exercise, deliberate cold exposure, like an ice bath or a cold shower, intermittent fasting, even just long, uninterrupted periods of focused, deep work. You see, elite performers don't just have more willpower. They've literally rewired their brains using activities just like these, things that require real effort up front. You pay for the dopamine first. And the payoff? I mean, it is staggering. Take deliberate cold exposure. Studies show it can jack up your baseline dopamine levels by 250%. And here's the key. This isn't a sharp spike followed by a crash. No, it's a sustained increase that can last for hours, giving you focus and motivation long after the discomfort's over. And listen to what neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman says about this. He says he's never seen anything else that creates such a long, powerful release of these feel-good, focus-enhancing neurochemicals, all from just a minute or two of being uncomfortably cold.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually put it into practice? That brings us to our final section, a clear, science-backed framework for taking back control.
Now, based on the clinical work from experts like Dr. Lemke, a 24-hour detox it's just a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's not enough. The evidence points to a very specific time frame. You need a minimum of 30 days of total abstinence from your main drug of choice. That's how long it takes for your brain's dopamine receptors to really heal and restore a healthy level baseline. So here's the framework. It's simple, but it is not easy. Step 1, abstain. You have to be ruthless. Identify your #1 source of cheap dopamine and cut it out completely for 30 days. Now, step 2 is the hardest part, but it's the most important. Embrace withdrawal. The first couple of weeks, they're going to be pure psychological agony. You're going to feel anxious, bored, agitated. You must sit in that boredom. That feeling is the parasite dying. It's your brain recalibrating. And then finally, step 3, resensitize. After those 30 days, it's like the world comes back in Technicolor. A walk outside, listening to music, a real conversation with a friend, they all feel deeply rewarding again.
So there you have it. You now understand the pleasure-pain balance, the dopamine deficit state, and the path to resetting your entire system. The science is on the table, so the only question left is, what difficult thing are you going to choose to do first?